Edmund Bartlett and Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, in their latest letter, told retired Justice Carol Lawrence Beswick that they don't wish to engage in an unending series of responses and counter-responses.
So people, guess what? The JLP write a second letter applying even heavier pressure on the new Integrity Commission boss, Justice Beswick, demanding that Lawrence be removed immediately. And they're not asking, they're telling. So make we get into the story. So make sure you watch until the very end because this gets real interesting. Now, picture this. Imagine your best friend was appointed to investigate your enemies and then pretending it's all about integrity. Yeah, this is real life in Jamaica right now. And by the end of this video, you're gonna understand why the JLP government is furious and calling for heads to roll at the Integrity Commission. The calm before the storm. On the surface, this looks like just another boring government appointment. But dig a little deeper and you find a political firestorm with more plot twist than a Love and Hip Hop Jamaica episode. The JLP government, led by Kamina Johnson-Smith and Edmund Bartlett, has officially declared war on the Integrity Commission, all because of one name, Roneiph Lawrence. Who is he? A lawyer, a professional, and most importantly, a 20-year close friend of PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell. Yes, the same Dr. Campbell, who's basically the JLP's arch nemesis. The problem: justice must not only be done. In a scorching letter sent to the Integrity Commission Chairman, retired Justice Carol Lawrence Beswick, the government said, "This appointment doesn't look bad. It smells like curry goat left in the sun." So now this is the second letter the JLP write to Justice Lawrence Beswick. Second letter. Pay attention. Their argument: even if Roneiph doesn't do anything shady, the fact that he's besties with a top PNP leader is enough to cast serious doubt on the commission's impartiality. And they dropped the big legal bomb, invoking the legendary Lord Hewart ruling from 1924. Justice must not only be done, but must also be seen to be done. Yeah, that's a legal term where all of the lawyer them know and learn when them a go law school. In other words, it's not just about whether something unfair happens. It's whether people think it might have happened. Sound off below. Do you trust the Integrity Commission after this Roneiph Lawrence drama? Drop your real opinion, no filter. I'm ready for every comment and featuring the best takes in the next video. The stakes. This isn't just about one man. This isn't just a petty squabble. This is about public trust in the one institution meant to fight corruption. If the Integrity Commission loses credibility, game over. What happens when the watchdog starts hanging out with the wolves? Even though wolf and dog are cousin, but me see the point. With public confidence already shaky after years of corruption scandals, the JLP fears Roneiph's appointment could taint future rulings, especially if those rulings go against the JLP. What me tell you now, them only have a problem with the fact that, say, Roneiph Lawrence has close ties to the PNP. Had he had close ties to the JLP, it would not be an issue. Imagine a ruling comes out that damages the government and the public immediately says, "Oh, that's Dayton Campbell's friend talking." Boom. Instant credibility crisis. The clash letters, accusations, and political side eyes. So the government fired off not one but two formal letters to Justice Lawrence Beswick. In the second one, they basically said, look, we don't want to keep writing back and forth like some toxic WhatsApp exes, but this issue too important to ignore. And then comes the shady cherry on top. The IC chair reportedly asked for proof before starting an inquiry into allegations of internal misconduct at the commission. That actually piss off the JLP. That actually piss off Johnson Smith and Ed Bartlett. Them is like, who the hell Beswick think she attacked to? Bartlett and Johnson Smith's response, what? Since when do we need receipts before even asking a question? They argue that in matters of integrity, public perception and reasonable suspicion should be enough to warrant an investigation, not hard evidence up front. If you smell smoke, do you ask for a picture of the fire before calling the fire brigade? Quick question, is this a real conflict of interest or just more political theatrics? Drop your theory like you're on the Integrity Commission yourself. Best comment might get a shout out in the next video. The twist. Is this personal or political? Here's where it gets spicy. Roneiph Lawrence isn't just a professional appointment. His long-standing friendship with Dr. Campbell is no secret. The two are close. Think godfather of my kids. Kinda close. So the JLP isn't just paranoid, they're calculating if the PNP has a mole, even unintentionally, in the Integrity Commission's decision-making process that could be weaponized politically. Imagine if Trump's bestie was appointed to head the FBI during the Russia probe. Yeah, now you feel it. This isn't just about ethics. It's about power, optics, and who controls the narrative. What they're not saying. Here's the question nobody's asking out loud. What exactly does the JLP fear is coming down the pipeline? Is there a major corruption ruling about to drop? Is the Integrity Commission sitting on a political nuke? Because this sudden aggressive push to remove one man reeks of strategic panic. And why the silence from Dayton Campbell himself? Because even now, me I wonder why the JLP no let this go. Why them even write a second letter, a pressure Justice Beswick fi fire and remove Roneiph Lawrence. What's the big deal? If you were the chairman of the Integrity Commission, what would you do with Roneiph Lawrence? Be bold, be honest. The streets are watching. Let's debate like Parliament in the comment section. That's why in Justice Beswick response, she says she can't go off her feelings and vibes. She need evidence, she need proof, she need facts. Say wrongdoing actually take place, which no wrongdoing no take place because him just come in at the job. So the JLP a push fi get Lawrence removed, but at the same time them a push fi inquire why Prince Kamina didn't get a renewal on her contract. Another question we may been asking a few videos back, is Prince Kamina a JLP mole? That's the question we may been asking, cause them a push fi she keep her job. The bigger danger, lose the people, lose the war. At the end of the day, the real loser could be the Jamaican people. The Integrity Commission is one of the last watchdogs the public still kinda believes in, but now that trust is cracking, and once it shatters, both parties will weaponize it. PNP will say the government is afraid of accountability. JLP will say the commission is compromised, and the average Jamaican left wondering who to trust. Again, who do you think is in the wrong here? A, the government. B, the Integrity Commission. C, both. Comment your choice and why. The juicier, the better. Here's my expert breakdown. What happens now? As a political analyst, here's the likely play. 1. The Integrity Commission won't budge. They'll cite legal backing and independence. 2. The JLP will keep drumming up pressure publicly, maybe even go legal. 3. And if Roneiph is involved in any controversial case, trust me, this will explode. This isn't just a fight over a man. It's a fight for the soul of Jamaica's anti-corruption system. So what do you think? Is the government right to push back? Is this about integrity or insecurity? And most importantly, what happens if the Integrity Commission falls under political pressure? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe for weekly political breakdowns, because trust me, this drama is far from over. And if you want to understand how the Prime Minister himself got into a battle with the Integrity Commission, check out some of my old videos about the Prime Minister versus the Integrity Commission. Drop your one-word reaction to this entire situation. I'll go first. Messy. I'm not talk the baller. Now you go. Let me hear it in the comment section. Here's a summary of the highlights and the key points. JLP demands the removal of Roneiph Lawrence over a potential conflict of interest. Cites Lord Hewart's principle. Justice must be seen to be done. Bartlett and Johnson Smith send 2 letters to IC Chair. Justice Carl Beswick, IC Chair, asked for evidence before probing misconduct allegations. Government pushes back allegations of bias due to Roneiph's 20-year friendship with PNP's Dan Campbell. Potential erosion of public trust in the Integrity Commission if issue escalates. Listen to these latest excerpts from Nationwide News Network.
Edmund Bartlett and Senator Kamina Johnson Smith, in their latest letter, told retired Justice Carol Lawrence Beswick that they don't wish to engage in an unending series of responses and counter-responses. But they maintain that they're of the view that the matters raised in her letter, which came following their initial expression of concern, are of sufficient public interest to warrant further comment. The government parliamentary leaders wrote that regarding the issue of Roneiph Lawrence, his close friendship with the PNP General Secretary, and potential conflict of interest,
this is not the JLP being humble. This is them trying to bully Justice Beswick and the Integrity Commission to give them an outcome that suits them. You get me? Because if they get Justice Beswick to cave under the pressure and remove Fire Lawrence, then they can get her to reinstate and renew Keisha Prince Kamika, because of that they really want. So now on the topic of conflict of interest, where you hear Johnson Smith and Ed Bartlett highlight, make we talk about conflicts of interest then. Remember, say Norman Brown, the Prime Minister's business partner, said conflict of interest charges was brought against the Prime Minister by the Integrity Commission because Norman Brown is the chairman of 2 state agencies that actually reports to Prime Minister Holness. Those 2 state agencies are the Urban Development Corporation and the Housing Agency of Jamaica. That was a major conflict of interest. And Keisha Prince Kamika decides she not see nothing wrong with that and refuse to charge the Prime Minister. So the hypocrisy and the double standard of the JLP It don't make no sense. The math is not mathing. This is what we call the practicing of dunce and illiterate politics. Because when you have clear conflict of interests, you're supposed to get away with it.
They very humbly and respectfully reminded the Integrity Commission chairman of the decision of former Chief Justice Lord Hewart in R and Sussex Justices. The 1924 case is known as the authority on the principle of justice not only needing to be done, but also to be seen to be done. Mr. Bartlett and Senator Johnson Smith noted that in that case, even the absence of direct evidence and/or confirmation of interference, circumstances where justice did not appear to be done were fatal to a judicial decision being upheld. The government parliamentary leaders wrote that so particularly powerful is the quasi-judicial role in which Mr. Lawrence now acts, they maintain their view that his appointment in the context of his publicly acknowledged, close and 20-year friendship with the strenuously adversarial PNP General Secretary at minimum risks opening rulings of the Commission to unnecessary suspicion. Bartlett and Johnson Smith told Justice Lawrence Beswick that they hope both she and the Commission might, on reflection, elect to be guided by Lord Hewart's wise postulation concerning the danger of not mitigating against circumstances which could support the suspicion of justice not appearing to be done. Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
Marlon Morgan enters the chat. Government Senator Marlon Morgan says the Integrity Commission should not overlook the concerns raised by the government regarding the antecedents of Roneiph Lawrence and his selection as acting director of corruption prosecution. Senator Morgan says Lawrence's affiliation with Dr. Campbell needs to be addressed by the IC chairman. So make we hear where Marlon Morgan have his say.
For the avoidance of any doubt, the Integrity Commission is too crucial a commission in terms of serving as guardians of accountability and faithful stewardship in high office. We know that Jamaica has been bedeviled by allegations of and perceptions vis-a-vis corruption, and as such, we know the role the Integrity Commission plays, and so that is welcomed. However, we believe that a premium has to be placed on ensuring that the persons who staff the commission are persons who are essentially divest of any perception of a conflict of interest. We note in this case that based on Dr. Dayton Campbell's own assertion, the gentleman who has recently been elevated to act as Director of Corruption Prosecution at the Integrity Commission, Mr. Roneiph Lawrence, against whom we cast no aspersion, we in the JLP do not impugn the gentleman's professional qualifications. What we're simply saying here is having regard to the fact that the Director of Corruption Prosecution will be called on from time to time to make critical decisions and determinations. We would not want any specter or any notion of bias or sympathies toward Dr. Campbell based on the relationship that the two gentlemen have.